Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into the latest episode of As the Border Turns. Recently, a border official claimed that the Biden administration gave migrants a false sense of hope. Now, I don't know about you, but when I hear false sense of hope, I think of my New Year's resolution to go to the gym daily. Spoiler alert, it didn't happen. So, what's the deal? Apparently, the administration's policies led many migrants to believe they'd receive a warm welcome, only to face a reality harsher than my grandma's fruitcake. In fact, New York City Mayor Eric Adams accused President Biden's aides of downplaying the city's migrant crisis, likening it to passing a gallstone. Now, roll the clip.
I want to get your reaction to this because can you tell us about what similar preparations Texas has been making? We saw Governor Abbott at the Capitol yesterday, and President Trump made a very big deal about the fact that Abbott and Texas were going to be a key piece of the immigration crackdown going forward.
Absolutely, Cheryl. Good morning. Great to be with you. We've been preparing for the last 4 years. When Governor Abbott first launched, Operation Lone Star, our border mission, and we have not we continue to remain proactive. Even though illegal border crossings have been down in the last year, we still have our state troopers, National Guard soldiers deployed at the border. We're still building infrastructure. As a matter of fact, yesterday during the inauguration, Governor Abbott directed more additional water buoys to be placed in the river in Eagle Pass, Texas, which was being done right now. So we still continue to maintain our operations on the border. And I think now that we have an ally with the federal government, with the new administration, it's going to be more beneficial to the state of Texas and to the country because now we are much stronger together working with the federal government who will now support what we're doing on the border. We don't have to worry about any type of legal challenges that we're facing back with the outgoing administration where they were constantly fighting our governor, fighting what we're doing through lawsuits, legal battles. Now we can actually focus on border security and continue to work with the federal government with this new administration.
Okay, so the fact that the CBP-1 app was shut down, the fact that Remain in Mexico is now back in place, I want to ask you if that helps you, but also the fact that they've now declared the U.S.-Mexico border a national emergency. Does that shift in the law or the shift in the language, does that actually assist you on day one?
Well, it does. And I'll go to your first question about the CBP-1 app. I think that in itself is something that the outgoing administration should have not been put in the first place. You have tens of thousands of migrants that are right now currently in transit that are waiting in Mexico that had appointments. And really, the outgoing administration provided a false sense of hope to those migrants, not knowing what the actual consequences were going to be, continuing to release migrants that were inadmissible through the parole process, which was completely done against the law. So that in itself, the outgoing administration should hold some responsibility for that and should answer to that. But of course, right now, they're not looking back. They're not looking at those migrants that are currently in limbo right now. So that remains to be seen. But I think that in itself is going to help deter some of that flow or those that are trying to make their way to the United States, knowing that now they cannot cross through the use of an app. So it's going to be much more stiffer consequences. And going back now to the national emergency, that provides much more authority now at the federal level, which is something we've been wanting for the last 4 years. Currently, with our operations and now with this national emergency, it's going to provide us more manpower, more support at the federal level with even U.S. soldiers working with our National Guard soldiers. That in itself is going to be a force multiplier. It's going to provide much more security to the border. So we are looking forward to that.
I was going to ask.
And if that wasn't enough, President Trump, on his first day back in office, signed numerous executive orders, including one to revoke birthright citizenship for children of undocumented immigrants. It's like telling everyone there's free cake at a party, and when they show up, you hand them a toothbrush instead. Not cool. To add to the chaos, the CBP-1 app, which migrants use to schedule appointments, was abruptly discontinued, leaving thousands stranded. Imagine waiting in line for hours for concert tickets, only to have the box office window slam shut in your face. Ouch. Now roll the clip.
you about that because part of what Trump did is he actually gave the defense secretary, which, to be clear, there's only an acting defense secretary right now because Pete Hegseth has not finished the confirmation process. He gave the defense secretary 10 days to provide a plan for U.S. troops to help seal the border. Do you know anything more about what those plans could be?
I don't, Cheryl, but if I can, pretty much if it's what's been taking place right now, we do have U.S. soldiers that are currently working with Border Patrol agents. They're able to gather intelligence, help Border Patrol identify any threats along the border. I think if we have more soldiers that are able to provide a much larger footprint across the border by gathering intelligence, working with not only federal authorities, but also with our National Guard soldiers, that will provide a much more robust border security operation. We have provided a blueprint in the last 4 years in Texas. It's now just up to the administration right now to kind of carry on with that blueprint that we have provided with border security, and while we continue to maintain our posture on the border.
I do want to ask you about some news that crossed yesterday. A U.S. border agent was shot and killed during a traffic stop in Vermont near the northern border. The FBI says 2 suspects were in that car. It was stopped. Now, one was dead. The other is injured and now in custody. Acting Homeland Security Secretary Benjamin Huffman said, quote, "Every single day our Border Patrol agents put themselves in harm's way, so that Americans in our homeland are safe and secure." Lieutenant, I want to get your reaction to what happened yesterday.
Cheryl, yesterday was a great day for America with the inauguration and now with new leadership, but of course, a tragic day as well for Border Patrol agents, for the Border Patrol community, as we lost one of our own, brothers in green. Yeah. We work closely with Border Patrol. It's tragic when any law enforcement officer, especially a Border Patrol agent, is either assaulted or tragically killed, as this agent was killed yesterday. Really just shows how we really need to step up our border security efforts, really focus on those threats. And now with this new administration, the new leadership, with some of their focus, I think it remains to be very intentional. And they want to focus on those public safety threats to keep law enforcement safe, especially our border agents. So it's just very tragic. And I offer one of my condolences and my sincere, sympathy and prayers to the family and to the Border Patrol community who have lost, one of their brothers in green. But again, we cannot let this happen to any law enforcement officer or soldier, anybody for that matter on the border. We need to protect them as much as possible. And I think now with this new leadership, we can actually do that now. I
would love to see the rates of divorce, alcoholism, and suicide in those ranks decrease under this president, as these Border Patrol officers now know that someone in Washington has their back. That is my wish for you and your colleagues. Lieutenant Christopher.
So what's the takeaway here? Communication is key. If you're going to invite people over, make sure you're ready to host. Otherwise, you're just setting everyone up for disappointment. And nobody likes a party pooper. That's all for today's episode of As the Border Turns. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more updates. And remember, folks, always read the fine print before RSVPing to the next big event.